This is Soph,
This is Rich.
and we are
From across
the
the pond.
How was your weekend? Ta-da! How was your weekend?
I actually went to the cinema for the first time today.
What?
Not the first time ever. Let's not get twisted.
What cinema did you? What I said cinema. What movie did you see?
Well, I was very disappointed because I went to watch James Bond, but it was all sold out. But the thing is, I went to the cinema in a different town because they got a better one with reclining seat. I mean, it was a bit of a disaster, really, but they got reclining seats and everything. So being as I drove there, James Bond was all sold out. So what's the point in turning back round? You may as well try and see something, right?
Right.
So I watched Venom.
Let There Be Carnage. How was it?
I pooped myself and watched most of it at the beginning through my fingers. I was like this.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I haven't seen it yet.
If you manage to get time to go to the cinema to watch it, that could be a movie review. You never know.
It could be.
But do you know what was disappointing? A, James Bond was sold out. B, they had no ice cream, right? I mean, and C, after paying extra, the reclining seats didn't even work.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel a complaint email coming on.
I can see you got the gift for it.
Oh, hell to the yeah. I'm expecting a free cinema trip.
And some popcorn or
ice. I told the guy that the seat wasn't working at the time. You know, this guy was going up and down checking rubbish or whatever. And I said, excuse me, does the seat not go back until the film starts then? And he went, oh, is it not working? I said, no. He went, oh, let me check the plug. Sometimes the cleaner knocks it. So he went behind the chair and he went, I need to speak to a manager because I need a key. Never came back. Never came back.
Did you say anything after the movie?
What? I didn't see the guy again. Didn't see the guy.
Did you say something to someone before?
No, this is what I mean. I've kept my receipt and I'm going to email. Because if you said, thing is there, I don't know what it's like there, but if I'd have said something, oh, there's nothing really we can do now. It's over. You watch the film. So I'll just email. Oh, you know me, I love a good email.
Yeah.
But yeah, try and watch the film and you can let me know what you think. But for me, it was a bit, but there's definitely been scoop for another one. How it's been ended. There's going to be another one.
There's going to be another one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And can I just say, I was really disappointed. Did you burn your mouth on the coffee?
I busted my tooth right on the cup.
Anyway, as I was saying, the trailers were all boring. There wasn't one trailer before the film started where I thought, oh yeah, I want to see that film.
Really?
One called Dune, which looks rubbish.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that.
One like from they were all Marvel. All of the trailers were Marvel.
Eternals?
Nah, there was one where that was made by the people who done Spider-Man. This guy wants a cure or something, and he tries to cure himself, and I don't know, turns himself into some monster thing.
Morbius.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah. I'll wait till it comes on the telly. That ain't a cinema one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, yeah. How was your weekend?
My weekend was uneventful. They closed down the highway.
Motorway?
Yeah, the motorway.
Why is that?
For the whole weekend. No one knows why. And I felt like I was stuck on an island. It took me forever to get places.
Well, I live on an island, so welcome to my world.
I was stuck in traffic.
Talking about islands, I watched a program last night about the world's most expensive cruises, right? You know, cruise holidays. And
Yeah.
this cruise company have bought an island, and you got, it's like a fun island, Paradise Island or something it's called. You only go there for one day. You don't even sleep there, but it's got like water park, this, that, or the other, blah, blah. So I thought, I mean, this is dumb stuff I do when I'm by myself. I've got nothing to do. So I thought, I'm going to Google buying an island, right? So I Googled it, and do you know you can buy an island, and they start from something ridiculous like £300 million, but you can buy an island. There's loads of islands for sale.
Yeah. The Bee Gees lived on an island.
The Bee Gees lived on an island.
Yeah. Their whole family. Their whole family lived on an island. Did you know that?
I think you're making that up as you go along.
All right, look it up.
Okay. I know that Richard Branson owns an island, Necker Island.
You and Richard Branson.
Also in news this weekend, I don't really do it.
Yes, in the news. What's going on in your news?
We don't normally do news on a Sunday, but did you see that
Sure
your favorite Kardashian is now engaged? Courtney and Travis are engaged. So sorry.
That means I can't shoot my shot.
Yeah, there's no going back. Don't slide into her DMs because that will be blocked instantly.
Instantly. God.
You didn't get in there quick enough.
My heart is broken.
Yeah, it looks it. I wondered what that sound was. Now I know. All right, so serious Sunday.
Yes.
And we are going to talk about jail.
And capital punishment.
What do you call it? Incarceration.
Incarceration? Yeah. What do y'all call it? Jail.
Yeah, jail or prison.
We call it prison too. Incarceration.
Or you're in the clink. Or staying at Her Majesty's service.
You call it staying at Your Majesty's service?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever been to jail?
No.
Me either.
Let me knock on wood.
Yeah, whistle. I can't even remember how this topic came about, but do you agree with the system at the minute? So you commit a crime, you go to court, and you're put in front of 10, 12, I don't know how many it is, strange people who listen to your story, listen to the evidence that's put before them, and then it's that 12 people that decide your fate.
Now, I have been through the court system, and that right there is painstakingly horrible.
Okay.
I think to be judged by your peers and they listen to both sides is horrible. I think it's painstakingly horrible, especially if you're the one who is defending themselves. It's a horrible thing because they don't know you from a can of paint.
Exactly. So your whole life, depending on the crime, obviously, your life is in the hands of 12 total strangers. Now, they done a program, I want to say 4 years ago, on Channel 4 here, called The Jury. It was on every night, Monday to Friday, for an hour every night. Mm-hmm. And basically, it was to show you, i.e. me, you, the general public, what it's like from a juror's point of view, right? So I
wish that was on television.
Well, wait for it. They set up this case. The people on the jury didn't know the case wasn't real. All of the facts were real, but they didn't know the people doing it were actors. They thought they were doing a documentary, obviously, about jury duty, but they didn't know the reason, obviously, why. So basically, we saw the viewers at home saw a scenario played out where there was a man and a wife. They had 2 kids. They separated. She started seeing someone else. She then got killed, right? The husband was going on trial. Did he murder her? The guy that she'd been seeing was seen jogging in the area on the same day. He basically went to the house. His version of events was he went to the house, he saw her on the floor, went in, realized she was dead, called the police. The other thing is he called the police, then hung up, and took him 8 minutes to call them back again. His version of events was he saw her laying on the floor, so he called the police, cut the call, thought, let me get into the house first. Then he realized she was dead, so then he called them back. Straight, I swear to God, from the get-go, I said, this man's guilty. There was things that didn't add up, like, why would it take you 8 minutes? Da, 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 da. Anyway, so they listened to the evidence. Then you went into the back room with the jury, and they all sat there, and this one guy sort of took the spokesperson's lead, and he was like, okay, let's just go around the table. Do you think this man's innocent, guilty? So they said, yeah, guilty. Da, da, da. This one old lady was saying, oh, I knew somebody that did this once, so I think he's guilty. And the spokesman was like, you can't bring your personal feelings into it, you know, like they were literally going at each other. So you heard all the evidence, you know, you heard from the boyfriend. Anyway, at the end, brought the jury back in on a Friday, and the judge said, have you come to a unanimous decision? And they were like, no, we're undecided. And he was like, okay, well, in that case, we're going to have to throw it out, you know, because you can't decide. The case gets thrown out. So they were like, okay then. So then cuts to the thing, and it shows you the whole of the scenario played out. The husband did kill the wife, and then he panicked, which is why he cut the call off, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so then it goes back to, they interview each juror individually. Like they sit down and they were like, oh, can I just ask, what did you say, guilty or not guilty? And they were like, oh yeah, I said not guilty. And they were like, okay, well, do you know he actually did kill his wife? And they were like, what? So we've just set that man free and he actually murdered his wife. And they were like, yeah. But obviously they only went on evidence that they were given at the time. But it just shows you that people can make the wrong decision all the time.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people sitting on death row that are innocent.
I wanted to ask you, actually, do you agree with death row?
I agree with it to a certain extent, because there's some people who deserve, and I know this might sound crazy, but deserve to die. Like if you're a rapist or
Pedophile, yeah.
pedophile, and you don't mess some kid's life up for the rest of their life, and or you're killing kids, yeah, you deserve to get taken.
I agree with you, but what I don't understand is, because I've watched some of these documentaries, you know, death row, blah blah blah, this, that, or the other. I don't understand why somebody can go to court, be found guilty, evidence is tacked up against them, so they're going down, they get given the death sentence, and then they sit there for years.
I don't know. To me, it should be done right the next day. I think it should be done the next day. Stop wasting taxpayers' money.
Okay, you say, hold on, you say do it the next day, but we've just said that some people are actually innocent on there. So there's got to be a timeline for you to be able to appeal your thingy if you're innocent.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm retracting that statement, because I feel like I think they're given an opportunity to, I guess, plead their case. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Now, but if you're a stone cold serial killer, or you know, and there's nothing you can say or do to get you out of that jam, then yeah, you need to go bye-bye, because you're wasting taxpayers' money.
You know, like a bit like over here when I told you about that policeman who admitted that he raped and murdered and chopped up that girl only just recently. There's a prime example. He's admitted it, therefore, off you go, an eye for an eye, right?
Yeah, take him out.
I think it's just, I wanted to say a waste of taxpayers' money, but it's not cheap, you know, to keep people on there. Yeah, if the evidence is there and somebody admits it, then that's a given. Gone.
Well, yeah, if the evidence is there and there's no ifs, ands, buts about it, I think they shouldn't waste time. But there are some cases that people are found guilty and all the evidence isn't there.
I
And
totally agree with that.
it gives them, I think the reason why it takes them so long is, I guess they're given an opportunity to try to figure it out, try to get some evidence or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
But this is when I think the justice, I'll say that loosely, the justice system isn't always fair. Like totally opposite end of the scale. Over here, we have this thing called council tax, right? Where you pay the government for the property you stay in. You've got to pay it every month. Everybody has to pay it. Used to be called poll tax. It's now called council tax. Government get the money. God knows what they do with it because the roads are still full of potholes. Anyway, there was a period of time where, like, if you don't pay your council tax, you can go to jail, right?
Right.
And there was a period of time where there was old age pensioners, like 80, 90-year-olds, being put in jail because they never paid their council tax. Granted, it was only for like 3 months. But why are you wasting money putting old age pensioners in a jail cell because they didn't pay their council tax?
Right.
Yet all these other, and then they wonder why their prisons are overcrowded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
there's got to be I think sometimes there's not fitting punishments for the crime. Do you know what I mean?
now do you think, I know we're talking about capital punishment and jail and life sentences, but now that marijuana is legal,
It
the
ain't
people
here.
who, it ain't there? Well, it's legal here. Do you think that people who were sent to jail for selling it should be let go?
Maybe
Because
they
it's
should.
legal now. I mean, like,
Maybe they should get a lesser sentence. I don't know how much you got a sentence for over there, but no, it definitely ain't legal here. Only my window cleaner of all people came to clean my windows a couple of weeks ago, and he's my friend from school's brother, and he's always got like an apprentice or a worker with him, and he basically said that he'd been smoking a bit of green, in the evening, and got stopped by the police, and he's had his driving license taken away for a year.
wow.
Mm.
Here, it's legal medically. It's not legal for, medicinal. Like,
If
it's
people
not.
have it for medicinal purposes here, generally they go out of the country to get it.
Yeah, it's not legal recreational. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just smoke it to be having fun. It's got to be a medically, well, here in
Okay.
Pennsylvania, it's got to be medically approved, which to me makes no sense. But
But going back to your point, if you were one of those people sat in a jail cell, yet it just become legalized and you were in jail for doing it, you would be a bit eggy, right?
again, the word "let me out."
Exactly.
Be like, "Let me out. I've done my time. Let me out."
What do you think? Like we talk, my brain's going off now on this subject. No, I mean like off on a tangent. We're talking about people, if the evidence is there and they admit it, blah blah blah. What about child offenders then? Like you have child killers, right? By that I mean children or under the age of 16, 18 that are murderers that kill
Yeah,
people.
I think if you have children who are stone cold serial killers, they need to be tried as an adult, and they need to sit in jail and rot.
Oh, not the death sentence for them is what I'm getting at.
I don't think they should get the death sentence now.
But not being rude, why? If they're in jail and they're just gonna rot, why
Because
not?
because they're young, and I don't know. It just weirds me out to be killing kids. Just I don't know what it is. It just weirds me out.
It don't weird the kid out to be going around killing people though. So
Yeah, because there was a case here where a young man like mutilated a young girl, just stabbed her umpteen times. Like, I mean, crazy amount of times. And he's sitting in jail, rotten. And I don't know if they tried him as an adult or not, but yeah, if the kid is going through great lengths to kill another kid.
What do you think when people claim insanity?
Yeah, you got to have a strong case for that. Like, you got to be like, to me, and this is just my opinion, you got to have a history. You just can't kill somebody and then all of a sudden claim insanity.
Be
No, you
mad.
got to be like, you got to have a psychiatrist. You got to be in and out of treatment for a while. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like that. Like, you can't just claim insanity.
I had another point about the child thing, then it's gone. Oh yeah.
You got to have a history of mental illness.
What about those people, like where you have it in America, we don't so much have it over here, but like mass shootings and stuff, like we were saying, death penalty should be given if the evidence is there or they admit it. Well, the evidence is there, right? When someone goes in with a gun and shoots a load of people, if they don't then shoot themselves, should they be given the death sentence?
Yes, right away.
Yeah, they're the
That's
sort
what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, some cases, it should be done right away. Like, let's not waste any time. Like, this man done shot up a whole church.
I know, and I just, obviously it is just our opinion, but I just wanted to clarify what exactly would constitute the next day, and obviously that came to my mind. So the evidence is there. 9 times out, well, not 9 times, I was going to say sometimes they end up killing themselves anyway, so they do the job for the government. But if they don't, then yeah, I totally agree, because the evidence is right there. You've just murdered multiple murders,
Multiple people, innocent people at that. Mostly it's innocent people.
Do you
Like,
think,
for instance,
Mhm.
we had a serial shooter. We had a guy that was running around state to state shooting people. He's still alive. He should be dead.
I ain't mad at that. What do you think about community service?
It depends on the situation. To me, I look at it depends on the situation. Like, if it's a minor offense, you know what I mean? I think community service fits the bill. It depends on the crime to me. For
So,
me,
but,
it depends
but I
on the
mean, you
crime.
don't think it's a waste of time?
I don't think it's a waste of time at all. Community service, I don't think it's a waste of, it depends on the crime. Now, everybody shouldn't get community service. But if you're young and you're doing dumb stuff, you know what I mean? And it's to probably get you in the right direction, put you in the right direction, community service can work.
Okay, this is still on the same topic, but I just want to know your opinion. If you was a solicitor, right, a lawyer, whatever you want to call them on that side of the pond,
Right.
obviously it's your job to represent someone, right, and
Right.
keep them from going to jail. If you knew that they did it, would you be able to go in there and lie? You got to remember that's your job, right?
My job is to prove without a shadow of a doubt that they didn't do it.
But if you
And if
knew
that
they
was
did,
my
if,
job,
if you knew they did do it, could you still go in there and prove without a shadow of a doubt that they didn't do it?
it'd be hard, but they paid me to try to convince the jury that they didn't do it. That's the hard part.
So do you think that solicitors stroke lawyers are wrong for doing that?
No, because they gotta because, like I said, there's some cases where they are actually innocent.
I know, but we're
So
not we're
if you
not talking
do,
about we're not talking about them ones. I'm saying that you as a lawyer know that I actually did just pop a cap in somebody's bottom. I told you I did it, but it's your
if I
job.
do, I
I
did it.
I think that they must have to have some tough skin, man, and they have to have no conscience to be able to go in there and do that.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer
Mm.
because it's all about integrity too. Like, like me as a person, I'd probably, if I'm doing the research and I find out and he admitted it, then my only job then would be trying to get him a lesser deal.
Well, yeah, I didn't look at it like that. I mean, I think I'd make a good solicitor, not for people that actually did it, but like for innocent people. I like to deal in facts. So, like, like if we're on the show and I'm like, no, let me open this message, let me read it word for word, because it's got to be factual, only deal in facts. In fact, Fiona laughs at me all the time. We could be on a conversation and she'll say, did you talk to this person or that person? I'll say, yep, hold on, I'm going to tell you exactly what was said. I'm opening the
Yes,
message right now. We only deal in facts.
yes. I have a friend who does that. She does not mess around. Like, and she will have your back 100%, and she will have the facts on hand.
Yeah, at the flick of a button. I just feel like if you only deal in facts, then this is going to sound so arrogant, and I don't mean it as it does, but if you only deal in facts, you can never be wrong, right?
True, but sometimes your facts, if they're not factual, like if you're just,
But then they wouldn't be facts. You'd just be dealing with
I don't know, because
stuff.
sometimes facts can be wrong too,
No,
though.
when I say facts, I mean I'm telling you exactly. This is a fact. What was said word for word, because I've got it written down in front of me in black and white. I ain't about to start making stuff up or telling lies or saying, "Oh, I think this person said that." Oh, I think. Nah, facts.
I like this. Facts.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, because other countries do this, do you think that there should be different degrees of punishment instead of sitting in jail? Like, for instance, there's countries where if you steal,
Chop off your hand.
they chop off your hand. If you're vandalized, you get caned in front
Why
of
not?
people.
That used to happen when we was younger. I remember my mum said to my sister once when she done something wrong, you got a choice. You can be grounded for a week, i.e. you're not allowed to go out, you're not allowed no TV, you're not allowed no nothing. Or I'll give you a slap, right?
Mhm.
And my sister said she wanted to be grounded. And I was like, you're an idiot, because if you just let mum slap you on the back of the leg
It's
one time,
over.
exactly, off you
It's
go.
over.
Same scenario. You thieved something, just chop off your hand. You got another one. Either that, or you're sitting rotting for 5 years.
And then there's a lot of things where a lot of countries still do this too. Uh, public public displays of punishment.
Oh, listen, I'm all for name and shame. Let's not get it twisted. Name and shame all
Like
the way. And I'm telling you, for here
like you're on the front page of the newspaper being hung.
on the local newspaper here every week lists who has been in the dock this week, and it will tell you this person, the name, the road they live on, how old they were, what their crime was, and what the punishment was. And I know that because I got wrongly given a speeding ticket about 3 years ago, and my friend phoned me and said, you're in the paper. And I was like, what? Screenshot,
What?
here you are, Sophie Sandomir, speeding, doing 36 in a 30.
Wow. They do that there? That is awesome.
Not really. But again, it goes, well, it is, because I like to look at it every week. So I'm like, oh, do I know anyone? Is there anyone on there I know? What have they been up to?
Mhm.
But again, it goes back to the hand chopping off. Say a mum who literally had no money, was homeless and needed to feed her kids, so she stole a loaf of bread. Would you
Mhm.
chop her hand off then? This is what I mean.
If you know that's the punishment for stealing, that's
Just
the
make sure
risk
you
you
don't
take.
get caught. Single mums, make sure you don't get caught.
That's the risk you take. You know, if you get caught, you're getting some fingers or a whole wrist
But
down to the
that's
wrist.
what I mean. I think at least it would free up some jail cells that way.
Yeah. And then guess what? There won't be a lot of crime because
And
once you
not
see somebody get their hand chopped off, makes you think twice about
and not
stealing.
only that, somebody can't deny it either. When you walk down the street and say someone with their hand missing, well, obviously you know why they got it chopped off, because they're a thief. If they say, nah, I just got it trapped in the car door. No, bruv, you've been nimble fingering around the shops, I'm telling you.
5 finger discounted.
Exactly. Maybe they should do that. Start at a finger and then hand if you still are a repeat offender.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
I
you're
don't
going to
know.
cut the hand off at the neck.
Right at the wrist bone. Chop out. Then you'll be running around with a hook. Just,
Okay, Peter Pan. But you got a point though. I think that would deter people.
I'm serious. There's not a lot of crime overseas in Iraq and Kuwait
Well, no,
because
they're
of the
all
simple.
terrorists. That's why.
Not all of them are terrorists,
The majority of them. That's crime enough, ain't it?
but in their paper,
Mm-hmm.
the front page, they show a whole lot of punishment.
That's because the Taliban is running their country and people are scared of them. That's why. They haven't
I
got
mean,
bellends like us, like Bojo and Trump and bloody Biden, who just don't sit behind a desk and don't brush their hair and be like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. They're people who run their countries. They're scared of them. That's why.
True that. But
Now, I'm not going to lie. I've never been to jail. I've never been to court, right? That is a small lie. I went to court over this speeding ticket, right? Because I appealed it. And there was only me and 3 judges. And no one else in the thing, apart from
3 judges.
3, and the lady taking the notes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like there was a like gallery or anything, people watching.
Let me ask you a question. Do they wear those wigs for real?
No, well, not in there. That's a small court. They probably would have done in the Crown Court, but not that. Put that court to one side. I'm going to ask you a question about the US in a minute. Anyway, I was not scared is not the right word. I've never been to court before. I started crying when I was giving my story, right? And I'm like, I'm just so, because this is the thing. She gave me the paper and she said, okay, can you just read this? And I stood there reading it and she went, no, you need to read it out loud. And I was like, oh, sorry. So I don't have to read it out loud. And then they asked me to explain why I, supposedly was speeding. Anyway, I was like, look, I did everything they told me to. I was like, I'm sorry, I've never done this before. I don't know what to do. And the woman stood up, and like the note taker, and she was like, yes, I had to look into Miss Salamir's background. She's got a totally clean record. She's never had a speeding ticket. She's totally clean. And I was like, I've never had anything like this before.
Oh my
it was just horrible. And that was just with 3 judges. So imagine what it's like.
You just started crying like that?
Well, probably not that bad, but I just thought the worst.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when I went to court, I went to family court, and I kid you not, when you got 12 people, I was out of state. I was in a town that I haven't been in for years, 12 jurors that I don't know from a can of paint, and they're listening to both sides. I thought I was going to pass out. That's how stressed I was, because I was just like, I couldn't believe that first I was at this point. And then secondly, 12 people to decide your fate. And it's just not like on TV where they stand up and they have one person say, guilty or not guilty. Yeah. Nah, it's different. They got an envelope, okay? They go in, they do whatever they have to do, and you're outside just waiting to see if it takes, And then when they come up with the what's the name, they have an envelope and they hand it to the judge. Then the judge reads out each person's what's the name. So I was just like, it was painstakingly painful. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, because that's just.
I'm gonna give you
passed out. I was literally getting sick.
I'm gonna give you another example in a minute of somebody I know. But have you got different courts there? Like we have small claims court, Crown Court, and Magistrates Court.
Yeah, we got different courts here. We got family court, you got people's court, which is a small court, and then you got like the big dogs, like like murder.
So basically, the court you go to depends on the level of your crime, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now
do y'all have public defenders? Like, say if you can't afford a judge,
you get a solicitor, like get assigned to you from the police station, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like say like if you can't afford a lawyer.
Yeah.
If you can't afford a lawyer, they appoint you
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Do y'all have that? Y'all have
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, I think that right there would be scary for me
Why?
because you're getting a lawyer that is probably new,
Just out of school.
just out of school.
Come on, you must have seen these films based on true stories where they basically get people off because they do such a great job. This is the thing, it's catch-22. Sometimes in them situations, they want to make a name for themselves and prove themselves, so they go above and beyond.
Yeah, them is the movies. Them is the
They're
movies.
based on true stories, so it does happen in real life. But when we was talking about your fate being in the jurors, let me just go back to that bit, because when I worked at Virgin, there was a guy on my team called Carlos, and his son got killed on the back of a motorbike. Him and his friend got killed by a drunk driver, right? Honestly, the story is so sad. So basically, the guy who knocked them off the bike had already had his license taken away 3 other times for drink driving, right? He'd already been, if you like, he was a repeat offender. Anyway, when it went to court, they had obviously all the evidence there. He said there was zero remorse on the guy's face, to the point where the judge stopped it and said to him, "Is there anything you want to say?" And he was like, "Nope, nothing I've got to say, you know." So the jury went out. When they came back in, now I like to deal in facts, but my memory is a bit shaky. Basically, he got done for having no insurance. The charges were no insurance, no driving license, because he was currently banned already, drink driving, and obviously murder stroke manslaughter, depending on which way it went. Now, you can't really say that you're guilty for one and not the other, because obviously if you're driving under, if he was found guilty for drink driving, he's got no insurance and no license, so surely those should be guilty as well, right? They go hand in hand.
Right.
Anyway, the jury went out, come back in, they found him innocent for 2 but guilty for 2, and the judge said, are you sure about that? You know, I need you to go back, you know, and come back in and discuss it again. Basically, when they came back in, the judge said that he was really sorry, but based on what the jury had said, he could only give the guy the maximum sentence, which was 6 months inside, even though he'd killed 2 boys. Because the jury said that he was innocent on some of the charges, he could only give him 6 months, which was the maximum sentence at that point. Afterwards, the judge could, because the jury aren't allowed to know about any previous crimes or any previous things. So after the sentence had been given, the judge addressed the jury and said, this guy is actually banned for drink driving, and it's his 3rd offence for exactly the same thing in the last 5 years. Apparently, 1 juror ran out crying, and 2 others, women, sat in the jury crying, because obviously they let this guy off, or majority had let the guy off based on what they had heard, when he's a totally repeat offender. And 6 months and that's it, he's back, and apparently he'd gone out driving again, even though he's got no license. Sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
Very sad.
But that's what I mean by the system has to be a little bit better. That's what I just look at.
I don't understand why you can't divulge that they're repeat offenders. Or let's just say you, like a serial killer, say the serial killer was on trial for 1 murder, the jury's not allowed to know actually he killed 10 other people before that, you know, but because he's only on trial for that 1 murder, they're not allowed to know about the other 10. I think that's ridiculous.
I think that's rubbish.
It is garbage. I think you should be told the history. It's like name and shame. Fess up. Because it then, that also, I think, the reason they don't tell you is because they don't want it to affect your judgment. But it would affect your judgment. That jury would have found that man guilty on all charges if they'd have known he was a repeat offender for exactly the same thing, and rightly so. I'd love to do jury duty. You got to wait to be.
I've done jury duty. Do they have mandatory jury duty for you guys?
Yeah, you have to wait to be called up, and if you're called up,
Yeah.
you can't say no.
Well, you gotta have a legitimate.
Well, yeah, ridiculous reason, like you're getting your hand chopped off. I don't know, but yeah, you can't.
Well, see here, when you do jury duty, they put you in a room, and then they'll go over like what you believe in or whatever the case may be. And if you say like, "Oh, I heard about this," then they just excuse you. Or if you're biased, you know what I mean?
This is the thing. It's just a random selection. And one of my friends at school has been called up 3 times. I haven't been called. I want to go. Please let me have a go. But knowing me, I'll have a case like mine, speeding ticket, rubbish, gone. And I'll be like, wow, is that it? Like, I want a juicy one that lasts a few days. You can get your teeth into it.
Like a bank robbery.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. But also,
I can see you taking notes.
You're not allowed to discuss it with anybody either.
Mm-mm.
So say like I had jury duty tomorrow and I come on the show, I'm not allowed to mention it. I'm not allowed to mention it at all.
Until afterwards. Then we grill you. Then we will grill you.
I'd love it. If anyone's listening, anyone in the hierarchy of jury service, please let me have a go.
I didn't like it. It was boring and very obnoxious.
You know what? It probably would be boring, but I'd just like to say I've done it at least.
True. I've done it several times.
I might add that to my wish list or my bucket list, whatever one.
I don't know. Jury.
You want jury duty. It's out of my hands, you know.
Who's going to watch Alfie if you have jury duty? What if it's a long one? You can't go home. They put you up in a hotel. You can't go home.
Yeah, but I can't not say I could. They're not going to let me off. So I don't know. I suppose he'd have to go to his dad's. I don't know.
Get a babysitter. All right. That being said, if anybody has any opinions on jail and capital punishment.
Yo, if anyone's been to jail, let us know what you thought. Is it like you see on the movies where you get a telly in your room, you know, or did you actually learn something and learn your lesson?
That too. And if you feel as though,
I mean, you're looking at me like I'm crazy after I've just suggested that. We won't name and shame you if you don't want us to, but it's just out of curiosity. Some people go in there and they either learn nothing apart from more crime and they come out worse than they went in.
I don't think anyone's going to get on here and say
or
they did not learn your lesson.
Some people go in there and they do learn their lesson.
They're not going to come out and say, I did not learn my lesson.
How
jail
do you know?
Was a joke.
How do you know? Someone might say
jail was not fun.
Someone might say
think jail was fun.
Someone might say I haven't been a repeat offender because jail was actually ridiculous, a waste of time. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. You never know.
If you don't ask, you don't know.
True.
So I'm asking, anyone wants to step up? Let us know. Hey, there might be someone in jail that watches our channel, our show.
And say that they're innocent.
Let's comment. We want to hear from you. I mean, obviously, you can't be a guest until you come out.
Because everybody is innocent in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Claim that they're innocent.
Of course they are.
Some aren't, though.
Some are. I totally agree. Some are.
Some are and some aren't. Depends on the situation, I think.
Situation. Anyhow, that was jail. Incarceration, prison, punishment.
Yeah. And don't forget to click like and subscribe.
Exactly.
If you haven't already.
And get amongst it to have a look at the merch.
And get amongst it if you haven't been to our website.
Soap.com.
Yes, .com.
.comage. All right.
Which
what?
I lost my train of thought right in the middle of the convo. This is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are from across the pond.
happy if you're ready to go. Across the pond with rich and so. Alright, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with rich and so. Alright, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with rich and so. Alright, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with rich and so. Alright, alright.
I was just looking at my rosy cheeks. It's getting a bit warm in here. That's fine. All these girls
Beautiful
pay
rosy
loads of
cheeks.
money to have blusher on their cheeks. Mine just comes naturally.
Naturally beautiful. That's what I'm talking about.
Naturally red cheeks. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
All
well,
right, people. We will see you on
have a good
Friday.
week.
I will see you on Wednesday.
Have a good week. Yepper.
Have a great week. Yupper.